New community colleges. We'll link you with our own, so more young people graduate with the skills and training to succeed. We'll increase collaborations between our colleges and universities and help create the next Indian Institute of Technology. And we'll encourage young entrepreneurs who want to start a business. And we'll increase exchanges, because I want more American students coming to India and more Indian students coming to America. And that way we can learn from each other and we can go further. Because one other thing we have in common, Indians and Americans are some of the hardest working people on earth. And I've seen that. Michelle and I have seen that in a family here in India. I just want to tell you a quick story. On our last visit here, we visited Humayun's tomb. And while we were there, we met some of the laborers who are the backbone of this nation's progress. We met their children and their families as well. And some wonderful young children with bright smiles, sparks in their eyes. And one of the children we met was a boy named Vishal. And today Vishal is 16 years old, and he and his family live in South Delhi in the village of Murband. This is Vishal. And his mother works hard in their modest home, and his sister is now in university. She wants to become a teacher. His brother is a construction worker earning his daily wage. And his father works as a stone layer farther away, but sends home what little he makes so Vishal can go to school. And Vishal loves math, and mostly he studies. And when he's not studying, he likes watching Kubudi. And he dreams of someday joining the Indian Armed Forces. And we're grateful that Vishal and his family joined us today. We're very proud of him, because he's an example of the talent that's here. And then Vishal's dreams are as important as Malia and Sasha's dreams, our daughters. And we want him to have the same opportunities. Sisters and brothers of India. Now, we are not perfect countries, and we've known tragedy and we've known triumph. We're home to glittering skyscrapers, but also terrible poverty, and new wealth, but also rising inequality. We have many challenges in front of us. But the reason I stand here today, and I'm so optimistic about our future together, is that despite our imperfections, our two nations possess the keys to progress in the century ahead. We vote in free elections. We work and we build and we innovate. We lift up the least among us. We reach for heights previous generations could not even imagine. We respect human rights and human dignity, and it is recorded in our constitutions. And we keep striving to live up to those ideals put to paper all those years ago. And we do these things because they make our lives better and safer and more prosperous, but we also do them because our moral imaginations extend beyond the limits of our own lives. And we believe that the circumstances of our birth need not dictate the arc of our lives. We believe in the father working far from home, sending money back so his family might have a better life. We believe in the mother who goes without so that her children might have something more. We believe in the laborer earning his daily wage and the student pursuing her degree. And we believe in a young boy who knows that if he just keeps studying, if he's just given the chance, his hopes might be realized too. We are all beautiful flowers from the same garden, branches of the same majestic tree. And I'm the first American president to come to your country twice, but I predict I will not be the last, because as Americans, we believe in the promise of India. We believe in the people of India. We are proud to be your friend. We are proud to be your partner as you build the country of your dreams. Jai Hind. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Aaja re, aaja re, aaja re, aaja re. भले कितने लंबे हो रस्ते हो, थके न तेरा ये तन हो, रे डगरिया रहना ये रस्ते तरसते हो तू आ जा रे इस धरती का है राजा तू ये बात जान ले तू कठिनाई से टकरा जा तू नहीं हार मान ले तू मितवा सुन मितवा तुझको क्या डर है रे ये धरती अपनी है अपना अंबर है रे ओ मितवा सुन मितवा तुझको क्या डर है रे धरती अपनी है अपना अंबर है रे तू आ जा रे
As the tune of the film Lagan is played out, we'll play it a bit in the background, but US President Barack Obama giving what will be described as a virtuoso performance, not a very long speech, but a speech that hit perhaps all the right buttons. This is what we were waiting to hear from the US President. In a sense, he has shaped his legacy by speaking about a future that he sees for the two countries, defining concepts like aspirational India, diversity of this great country, spoke on it at some length, said that we must celebrate a country which throws up a Shah Rukh Khan, a Mary Kom and a Milkha Singh, warned that religion must not be used to push darker impulses, must be used to push the light of God, spoke about the freedom of religion, important perhaps some would say in the context of the kind of Ghar Wapsi campaign that has been undertaken by some elements of the Sangh Parivar, raised issues for the future of climate change, education, community colleges, which we spoke of on this program before the meeting, clean energy. Importantly, also spoke at some length about gender equality, about the need where women can feel safe in buses, in public spaces. Again, important in the context of the campaigns that have been run, including in the national capital, demanding greater security for women, saying a country cannot progress unless its women have equal share to the men. Also gave the story of Vishal, which in a sense links to the entire idea of an aspirational society. Someone he said he met when he went to Humayun's tomb, who today aspires to be part of the Indian Army. So all the right buttons being pressed. I want to get immediate reactions. We'll put all our guests in our boxes and get immediate reactions. Starting with you, Mr. Parthasarathy. The speech was about 30 minutes at best, but this was where Obama is at his best, in a town hall environment.
That's the politician in him. Coming from where he does, the first African-American president of the United States, through all the disadvantages, he's made it up in a democracy. Now go back, he's here on a day where we are celebrating our Constitution.
Yeah, go ahead.
And the commonalities between the Constitution of the United States and our own Constitution, especially the Bill of Rights and our fundamental rights, he focused on. I think what he stressed is something which we have always believed is necessary for our country. Celebrate your diversity, respect your diversity, and have your unity in respecting that diversity. I think that's what the Americans also like. So he's put the Indo-American relationship in a context of shared values and shared dreams.
You know, I just want to just raise this issue. Am I sort of amplifying it more than I should? Because he did mention very specifically, he spoke about religion and said every person has the right to practice his or her religion. In the context of the Ghar Wapsi campaign, Jyoti, do you think that this was significant, relevant? Was he sending out some kind of a message, not so subtle message, rather direct message about what his view of an equal, diverse society is?
Rajdeep, it was such an uplifting speech, and especially after the last 2 days that we've seen in here in Delhi, where we've talked about all these sort of very pragmatic issues like the nuclear deal and whatnot. I think today's Obama speech reminded all of us Indians about our own constitution and the values that we uphold as democracies. But I think what Obama, when he talked very directly about Article 25.
That's right.
And that was a direct message to Prime Minister Narendra Modi and to the BJP, to the RSS, if you like, to the people of India, that this fundamental right to the freedom of religion cannot be compromised. And the fact that Obama has to tell Modi this, and remember that Modi has been sort of clasping him and embracing him at every opportunity over the last couple of days, perhaps we needed, Indians needed a foreign leader to tell us that this fundamental right in our constitution, that there can be that this Ghar Wapsi business is obsolete and belongs to the Middle Ages.
Do you go as far as Jyoti is going? Do you believe that there was a message to Prime Minister Modi? He must have spoken to Prime Minister Modi about this, possibly in their interactions.
Look, US presidents speaking to the nation beyond the government. You know, Clinton went to Pakistan and insisted he'll speak to the nation, even though you had Musharraf sulking about it. So today he was getting past the BJP government. He's talking to the people of India. He's also reassuring his own people back home. Don't forget, there's a huge lobby there which has been discussing this attack on churches, Christian faith, etc. And also don't forget, the visa to Mr. Modi was denied on the Freedom of Faith Act, on the very basis. So he didn't want to raise it. So 2 days he spent with Mr. Modi, looking forward, and he says it's not a question of the countries just being natural partners. He says we can be best partners. But then he's laid down the conditions. This is what India should be. Do more in the world. Let's work together where we share our values and also do it abroad. Democracy, healthcare, taking disease away, lifting the world out of poverty. Today he's not talking of just India lifting its poor. He's talking of the world lifting poverty, lifting the spectrum of poverty from the whole world. So it's a different kind of partnership is talked about. But getting back to Article 25 and freedom of faith, very clearly it's a signal that he may be hugged, he may be wined and dined, but as far as the values are concerned, BJP better stick to the mainstream, stick to the main.
You know, the reason I was getting a little anxious there is to try to convince my producers and tell them that is really the big news point that is coming. Freedom of religion has what? In this presidential speech on more than one occasion so that's the big flash that we should be giving. US president in a sense saying freedom of religion cannot be compromised. Everyone has the right to practice his or her religion. But beyond that, he raised other issues also. Climate change, gender equality, clean energy, and spoke about the need for growth and linking growth to an aspirational society, the story of Vishal that he gave. You got a sense that this was a US president who in a sense delivered the kind of speech that maybe an Indian Prime Minister should be doing more often. Mr. Modi delivers some very fine speeches, but I thought today Mr. Obama raised the bar a little bit higher.
Actually, I think Mr. Modi in his Independence Day speech.
That's right, spoke about gender equality, about the importance of speaking to sons. I thought that Independence Day speech of Mr. Modi was easily the best speech that the Prime Minister has given till now.
But you know, what I see in this speech today was not a de-link or something that was separate from the strategic relationship that was discussed during the previous part of the visit. I think the message that he was also giving, even while giving the message that Mr. K.C. Singh was talking about, was that all of this is linked with these freedoms and these commonalities between India and America, these great values that bind the two countries together. He's saying this is all linked with the strategic partnership. And this is why I, as president, can come here with bipartisan consensus across the spectrum of American polity, because these are the common values between America and
I thought
India.
It was interesting that he also raised the issue of how people have questioned his own faith, and maybe sent a message to those who've used Islam, in a sense, to spread terror. Religion has been used to push darker impulses as opposed to the light of God.
Attack on the Gurdwara in England.
That's right, and spoke on the attack on Gurdwara.
White supremacists.
There was a message, in a sense, to Islamic fundamentalists and Islamic terrorists, and there was a message to those who have believed in practicing Ghar Wapsi. So he sent strong messages to both sides.
For me, the takeaway was that in a very simple way, he explained to everyone that India is an attractive strategic partner because it has these core values of
which we share.
And not just the economy.
I think he warned us, I think he warned us that if we were to lose these particular attributes,
sheer economic growth is not enough.
Sheer economic growth is not enough.
Yeah, exactly.
I think he warned us to preserve these attributes of the Indian democracy. These values of Indian democracy.
But can I just say that, I think he gave a Martin Luther King type of speech towards the end, where he talks about the fact that we must be defined not only by our birth, but by what we want to achieve, and by our dreams and by aspirations. He talks about Dalits and how Dalits cannot remain where they are and cannot be condemned by the fact of their caste or by their birth. So I think he gave a really uplifting speech,
which is what you would expect of someone like President Obama. If you read his book, Dreams of My Father. I mean, the man is a remarkable writer.
He's a scholar,
and he's a scholar, and he's always believed. I think, and he symbolizes it. He symbolizes the triumph of U.S. diversity. And in a sense was telling us that is a great strength that India also has.
Rajdeep, he was no longer the chief guest. He was now back to being President Obama.
That's right. And perhaps this was the first occasion.
He was back to being Obama the man.
He was back to being Obama the man. This is perhaps the one occasion that he's had in the last 2.5 days to be that.
To be himself.
He's either been caught in ceremonials or he's been in a way shadowed by Mr. Modi.
I think it was very, very carefully, as Ajay has pointed out, noted, yes, we have a strategic partnership. It is something we need to move ahead with. It's something we've not had before. But it is a partnership rooted in its strength derives from the commitment to common values, including Article 25.
In that sense, is he separating us from the other kind of relationships that the US has? From here, he goes to Saudi Arabia, a relationship
where he cannot
talk about issues like gender equality.
No, freedom of faith.
He could not possibly talk, about issues like this in China. Where, if he were to go...
When he writes his memoirs, I'm certain he would say the contrasts of foreign tours, India followed by Saudi Arabia.
Okay, I just want to go to Rahul Kanwal, who's joining us there at the moment. Rahul, what has the reception been like to the Obama speech?
We've got a whole bunch of people who've just heard the American president. I want to go across straight to them and get a sense of what they thought of the American president's speech. Let's start with you. What is it that you do and what do you think of Obama?
I'm a student. I study in Delhi University and the speech was just magnificent. I mean, it was so, I got so overwhelmed. I was sitting in the front seat there and he was right in my face and I was like just listening to him and I was getting so inspired from within, and I'm going to just go and just do whatever I can to help this country, progress. And I don't know, I'm just too inspired right now.
Which part of Obama's speech did you like best?
When he was talking about, I like the part when he was talking about the uplifting the people from poverty and just helping the poor people in India and as well as US.
Okay, President Obama said that America is not just one of India's key partners, it can be India's best partner. Does that resonate with you?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I was very touched with the way he presented the small incidences he experienced in India.
Okay, the president spoke a lot about women's safety, women's security. I think that's when he received the warmest round of applause. Which part of the president's speech connected with you the most?
The same part. I think talking about the women's safety and recounting the bus drive home and walking around in the streets safely. That's what every Delhi woman feels right now, is to be the most priority. I think that really touched chords with me, and I think he just touched everybody's chords sitting here, and that was really, really significant of him to know so much in depth about our city, our people, and then narrate those things.
There were lots of Bollywood moments, lots of references to Shah Rukh Khan, lots of Hindi thrown in as well. Does that make him more human, more easy to relate to and connect with?
He knows how to connect with the crowd. He knows his presence, he knows where he is, and he knows exactly what he has to say, and that just clicks with the crowd.
I think he's done his homework very well. He knew exactly what is going to get him to connect with the crowd, and I think that That's his strength, that's Mr. Modi's strength, to be able to connect with the crowd, and I think he did that very well. Especially he spoke around education, women empowerment, as well as the examples he gave about how, I mean, they've been able to come from a very, very sort of humble background to reach where he has. And I think that really went in very well with everybody, and that gives a ray of hope to everybody. Right
How successful do you think the Obama visit has been so far?
I think there's a lot of good things that's going to come out of it. I think it's a historic moment. We are, the two countries are getting closer, and I think a lot of good is going to come out of it. We were here at 6 o'clock in the morning. I think it was worth it.
You've been here since 6 in the morning.
6 in the morning, and I think he's a rock star, and it was worth it.
And I think this is perhaps the turning point in our relationship. We've been talking about India-America relationships sort of coming good, but I think this should hopefully be the turning point in our relationship.
People think of him as a rock star. They've been here since 6 in the morning waiting for him. Hugely enthusiastic response here at the City Fort Auditorium, Rajdeep.
I want to ask the one question which I didn't sense from the audience. I don't know whether they picked it up. Freedom of religion. Do they agree when President Obama says Article 25, every Indian has the right to practice his or her own religion?
Yes, I think we have.
There were a few references to freedom of religion. Do you think that's a subtle message to the Modi government? Who wants to take that question? The fact that the president said, without saying so very openly, that freedom of religion is very important. He didn't make any. Every person should have the right to practice the religion he wants. An oblique reference also to the conversion law. So those are very pointed references.
Churches, even the attacks on churches. I think our government actually must support every religion as it has been doing all throughout.
Yeah, what I really like, which is important, you know, each to his own. Each to his own.
Each to his own. So I think each one's faith is very, very relevant to them, and I think the government must go all out to support each one in his faith. But one point which
There's been a huge row over conversions, the anti-conversion bill. There were oblique messages there from the American president.
Yeah. What I also liked was what he said in the beginning, that to imagine an American president visit India on the 26th January was a distant dream, but he has made it true, and I think it should continue.
And he said that he's the first one who's come twice over, but he won't be the last.
Yeah, that's wonderful, and I think it was an awesome experience.
There were lots of concerns among young students about whether American universities will remain open to Indian students as they have been. Were you reassured by what you heard from the American president?
Yeah, I was. I mean, but I want to add a point of the religion point of view. He emphasized that each should be able to practice the religion, but also choose not to practice religion. I mean, the point that people are forced into some religions here in India, they can choose not to. If they don't want to follow a particular religion, they can, choose opt out of it.
That was a very subtle, very nicely delivered message from the American president to all the people over here.
He also mentioned that while he does want to encourage Indian students studying there, he also said he'd like to see American students study in India. So I think he did in some ways subtly also recognize the levels of education that are going up in India as well.
Oh, absolutely. Also, I think there are so many things in common. I think both these democracies, they have, when you talk about religion or opportunities, both these democracies are so close to each other in terms of the character. So I think both the democracies, they have to learn from each other.
Okay, with this we take it back to the studio with Rajdeep and his guest. Rajdeep, take it away.
Thanks very much, Rahul. It's interesting, the kind of responses. Obviously, people there overwhelmed just with the presence of the US president, and I think that really has sort of triggered that kinds of excited reactions that we are getting. Let's take a break at this point. When we return, just getting in more reactions from various people. That will be in a moment from now.